So knowledge-wise then, obviously it's all very well having all the gear, but we're familiar with the all the gear, no idea kind of mantra. So what do we need to make sure that we ourselves are equipped with in terms of knowledge in order to make sure that our first outing isn't our last outing?
Yeah. Obviously having decent kit is the primary objective. I think the wind. Okay. The wind is the big warning. People just don't.
It's a big area, isn't it? It can really
certainly in the Lake District and offshore. I mean, on the coast. If you're not aware which wind direction you can get in a lot of trouble. On the lakes, the wind's going to blow you. You're up on the surface of the water, and that wind is going to take you. An offshore wind on Wastwater, for example, can put you on a shoreline where you've got to walk out 6 or 7 miles over really rocky terrain. Do you know what I mean? So you actually go into the wilderness from your car. You can be on the opposite side of the lake, and suddenly you're miles from anywhere, and you can't get back because the wind's blown you there. So the wind is the one. A good weather app. We use a thing called Windy, which is like a weather app that basically shows you the wind direction, shows you where it's going to swing to later in the day, so you get a real feel of where that wind is. Yeah. And that's the one I would, of all the things,
the one
look
that
at the wind.
The most.
Yeah.
And kind of thinking about those kind of online resources, you mentioned about that Windy app. What about kind of access, where you can kind of safely but also kind of legally put on and take off without kind of, putting anyone's nose out of joint? Yeah,
well, the lakes is great. I mean, the Lake District has got free access to just about all the lakes. There's a few vagaries and irregularities that you need to look into, but the National Parks Authority website tells you all of that.
Yeah, they've got a great PDF document, and it just kind of details like a little flow diagram.
Exactly, and just look at that, research that. I mean, as far as the waterways of the United Kingdom are concerned, the British Canoeing, as they are now, which was the BCU when I was then back in the 80s. British Canoeing, again, we've got a great resource that you can look at and see where you're at of travel. They can actually get a permit to go on the sort of the canals and things like that. So if you want to travel on canals, then you use a different permit for that. So you can get one of those as well. So yeah, it's
brilliant. So if we've kind of survived the downwinder, we've enjoyed it, we've liked that faster pace of moving in that environment, I suppose next up is kind of rivers and white water. What kind of considerations are there, or what do you like about it?
Yeah, I mean, the river, certainly white water, is something that you need to have a fair amount of experience before you get into. We've been, sort of the kayaking background took us into white water on SUPs, and we kind of fell in love with that because it was a chance to do rivers that would be not boring, but certainly lacking in challenge in a kayak. And suddenly they became super adventurous on a paddleboard because you're entering a rapid going, can I make it through this stood up? And I mean, not without its risk, it's got to be taken seriously. It's not something
I imagine the knocks are pretty hard knocks.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very good at falling on my board. So you fall onto the board before you fall into the water. And you kneel down. If things are getting serious, you kneel down. Okay. And it's like being in an open boat then. It's a much sort of more a safer place to be. But no, it's adds a buzz to it.
So for someone like yourself that's lived in the lakes for a long time and clearly have kind of tried lots of different ways of exploring this environment, adding another kind of string to your bow just opens up all those places that you did know really well, almost like it's a new playground again.
Yeah, no, definitely. It definitely is. It's just a great way of being on the water. Do you know what I mean? Once you've stood up on one and you kind of stood in the middle of dirt water, and you stood on water, there's something quite special about it anyway. Do you know what I mean?
It's a miracle.
Yeah, no, it is. And just being able to see the Lake District from a different standpoint, no pun intended, is great. Delayed. And yeah, I mean, for me, it's just such an easy way of just moving around in the environment you love, and it's so relaxing. And there's no Strava. There's no sort of like middle-aged man trying to get the best time. It's just out for a run on your board and enjoying being out there. That's it.
I mean.